welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be giving you the first of a series of videos related to audiobook development for self-published authors. So the first topic I'm going to tackle today is what is the process for developing and producing an audiobook, and why is it something that you should be considering as an author? So as an author, you want to have your book out there in as many formats as possible for your audience to be able to enjoy. As more and more people are switching to audio content such as podcasts and audiobooks, you want your books there as well. Otherwise, when they're on their long commute, they may elect to read somebody else's book. There's a growing population of readers that are now hybrid readers. So maybe on their commute to and from work, they're listening to the audiobook because they're driving and they can't read. And then when they get ready for bed, they're going to read the next chapter in the book. So they're consuming that book in two different mediums. So it's good to have your book available for them. Now, a lot of times people think, okay, I can write my book. I already have a computer. That's inexpensive. I can convert to PDF. Okay, that's inexpensive. I can convert to EPUB. That's inexpensive. I can get my book out there. And I've talked before about how self-publishing doesn't have to be very expensive. When it comes to audio, though, a lot of people start to think, okay, I need a microphone, I need a space to record, I need technology to be able to cut and edit and produce this audio. You can start to think how the costs are going to get up there pretty quickly for something where if this is your first book, you may not know what the return is going to be. So I would definitely suggest, I think that most ideal is to launch your book with all formats all at once. But if you are self-publishing and this is your first or second, even your third book, it is okay to see what is the demand for the book, and if there's a demand for audiobook, then to produce it. So there are two main ways that you can produce your audiobook. The first would be to narrate yourself. So you've already written and published the book yourself as a self-published author. Why not publish the audiobook yourself? So I'm actually going to do an entire video just on that process because there are lots of different factors to consider, and I want to give that due time. The other method, and when you think about it, this method applies whether you're hiring somebody else to do the work, you just be hiring yourself. So in general, the process is that you need a narrator or a voice actor. So if you go through a service like ACX or Findaway Voices, they will try to match you with a narrator if this is the route that you want to go. They also give you an option to say, I'm narrating it myself. But they will try to match you with narrators based on the tone that you're looking for. If it is a romance novel, if it is set in a different country and maybe they need accents, or maybe it's set here but one character needs a specific accent, maybe they're from New York versus Texas. They're going to sound differently, and these very well-trained voice actors should be able to bring that to your character, to bring that to life. You can even do books where you have multiple voice actors if you feel strongly that you want your different characters to be narrated from different actors, but obviously the more talent you have on the book, the more you're either splitting your costs or you're paying up front. So that is one thing to consider. For my first experience with Findaway, I didn't use a narrator. For ACX, or Audiobook Creation Exchange through Amazon and Audible, I have gone through both methods. So I'll go through that as well. So when you are deciding that you want to go with a narrator, and again, whether that is yourself or you're hiring a professional, there's really two methods for which they're going to be compensated. So if it's yourself, you get paid when you make a royalty. That's like 1A. We're not going to consider that one. The other option is to do a royalty split. So I have worked with voice actors who have agreed to say, I am going to front load all of this work. I will not receive a dime until we sell copies of the audiobook, at which point I will receive 50% of all royalties moving forward. So if you already have a platform as an author, if you're already making income from your printed books, this is a method for you to say, I'm going to increase my passive income with audiobooks. Yes, I am sharing the profit with somebody, but they also did a lot of work as well. So it is compensation for them of the work that they've done. When you think about it, it's also aligning incentives, right? They have an incentive to do a really good job to make sure it's high quality to continue to get more sales. The other method is to do a down payment and then a pay upon completion. So they are compensated once the book is done. You own it completely. You have already paid the voice actor everything that they need, and now any royalties you receive go directly to you. So in some ways, when you hire yourself as the narrator, that is what you're doing. You are just enjoying the profit later. So it would be slightly different too if you were just hiring a narrator and then somebody separate was doing the audio editing. The two narrators that I've worked with through ACX, they did all the audio editing. So I sent them the script, they sent me back final produced versions of the audio to listen to and approve. And ideally that's what you want because, well, I guess it really depends on the actor, the voice actor. So a lot of people who are doing voice acting for audiobooks are learning the editing because they realize, okay, as an author, if I have to pay for the voice actor and then I have to pay for someone to produce the audio, things start to add up quickly and you really want somebody who is dynamic and can do both. So once you select the narrator and you select the fee structure, if it's going to be pay up front or royalty, You want to be able to get them the chapters so they can record your book. So another thing to consider is when you're sending over your manuscript. Now you may just think, here you go, here's the EPUB file, good luck. I would suggest, trying to connect with that narrator to say, would you like individual files? So one thing you want to be cognizant of when you are submitting your manuscript is that you know your book inside out. So if you have a nonfiction book and you have a diagram and you say in the text, as you can see in this diagram, well, in the audiobook, no, I can't see it. So you have to figure out, are you going to slightly reword the audio script to say, as I can show you in a diagram that's in the text version of the book, there is a line that increases at this percent, or something like that. Same thing with your fiction books. If it's in a murder mystery and there's a clue that's printed in the book, well, if I can't see it, how is the reader, the listener, going to know that clue? So that's something to think about. Okay, so in general, that is my good follow-up for what you should be considering as you are preparing to get your audiobook produced. So why should you produce it, and what's the route that you're going to go? Are you going to self-narrate? Are you going to hire a narrator? What's the process for selecting the narrator, which ACX, Audiobook Creation Exchange, and Findaway Voices will facilitate. You can send out a small portion of the script, listen to samples, and then select, and then they handle the contract all through them. If you decide to go outside and you say, well, I know somebody who's a voice actor, I want to work with them, and you set up something separate, they'll probably actually put you through an agreement in their service as well. I don't always like that because then you can only send the files that way versus if you know somebody, you can just talk to them. So that is something to consider as well. So now that you have selected your narrator, whether it's yourself or somebody else, you have an idea of the scripts, you know who's going to be editing it, and how that's going to work. The book will usually go off to the narrator, and you really don't have to think about it until you start to get chapters back. My recommendation is that you listen to every single chapter as they come in, and then as you do your final approval. So that means you are listening to your audiobook at regular speed, at one-time speed, the entire way through at least twice, if not more, because this has your name on it. This is very high level of effort to produce and create. So it's also going to require a high level of effort to review and submit. So you're better off if you spend the time up front listening to it and catching small things than having it go to review, wait 7 days. Okay, ACX kicks back an edit. Okay, resubmit. Okay, oh, we found another edit. Oh, another. You want to get that done earlier. So once your book is approved, it is out there, which is very exciting. So in my experience, I've only done audiobooks where the book has already been out for a while, and then I'm adding the audiobook on later. Now you can try to launch them all at once, which would be very ambitious. You can do a pre-order option. So you can do that on Findaway no matter what. You can set the pre-order option so they can pre-order it, and then that counts as your day one sales. For Amazon, for ACX, which is owned by Amazon, it gets your books out to Audible, Amazon, and Apple. And again, I'm going to go more into detail on ACX later, but they will not allow you to do a pre-order unless you are exclusive with them, because Amazon, that's what they do. So that is something to consider as well, as far as why are you going to produce it? That's what the people want. How are you going to produce it? Either working with a narrator and an audio engineer or doing everything yourself, making sure that the script makes sense for audio, and then considering if it's going to be a pre-order or not. In my experience, I've only done them after. I haven't been able to do a pre-order, so whenever I can do that, I will certainly let you know how that goes. So as I mentioned, this is going to be the first of several videos. I will be putting out more. This is a huge topic, and I cannot cover it all in just one video without pretty much giving you an hour-long course. And that would be great for my YouTube rankings, but not very enjoyable for you as a person. So I will be recording the next videos and getting them up for you shortly. I hope you found this helpful as you're deciding to do audio for your books or not. If you have, please click like and subscribe below. Give it a thumbs up. Hit subscribe, ring the bell. That helps YouTube to know that this video gave you value and that you want to see more like it. So it'll help get this video in front of other authors like us. So now you can go back to writing and narrating your book.